Okay, hello everybody. How's
Hello.
everyone in Florida?
Doing great, Mo.
We're
Is,
amazing.
is the sun shining?
Yes.
Well, that's great. And no storms yet, right?
Nope. No storms.
Okay. Uh, who would be willing to unmute and come on and tell me the three pillars that we've already covered in our sessions together? So, what are the three pillars that we've already covered? Kevin, can you do that real quick?
I can. Give me just a half a second. I just want to.
No, I'm sorry, Chaz.
Chaz.
That's a good one. Hang on, Mo.
Okay.
Let's see. We covered the. Oh my goodness gracious! I had a mouthful of food.
What's the foundational piece for our Keller Williams culture?
Our Y4C2Ts.
Y4C2Ts, and
Yes.
then we covered what?
Our MVVBP.
MVVBP, and then we quickly reviewed the six personal
Yes.
perspectives.
Yes, because I've got those in my calendar now.
And now today we review the last piece of our culture.
The culture in action.
And it's called the culture in action. Now, why do you think that this piece was developed? When you look at this piece, what do you think the objective was in developing this piece? Chaz?
Let me just turn my first of all, to culturize our office, and so that our office can actually look this way as far as our behaviors are concerned. It's the standards in which we behave.
We had too many people that didn't understand what a culturized office looked like. And so we got some team leaders together, some top team leaders, some top agents, and Kay Evans and I came up with this, and we divided it into two parts. Actually, Mark King kind of did the dividing, and he put it culture in action. He divided it into behavior, and he did it in what we do. And there's kind of some overlapping, but it's designed to help people understand what your market looks like when you're truly culturized. It's being the best associate, a co-op associate possible, always respecting other people, because those are the people that you're probably going to want to recruit. Doing the right thing without wanting to be recognized or acknowledged, complimenting others regularly, being a part of the solution and not the problem. And Chaz, will you read the next three?
Yes, I will. Being a part of, taking the high road on confrontational issues or points of difference. Number 5. Number 6. Living up the covenant if you're on the ALC.
The covenant agreement.
The covenant agreement. And,
go ahead.
And then the third one, number 7, is representing the market center and the company in a positive way, always smiling at others in the market center regularly.
You know, I want to stop and talk about that one a minute. Representing the market center always in a positive way. It was kind of interesting to me this week when I watched the Queen's Jubilee, what little bit I could see on TV. And Meghan and Harry came to the Jubilee. And you'll remember, if you know anything about the United Kingdom, that Harry was the most popular royal of all. People loved him. And he and Megan walk into the church where they're having the church service to honor 70 years on the throne by Queen Elizabeth. And what did the people outside the church do when he walked in?
They booed him.
They booed him. Why did they boo him?
Because
Well,
they
because
don't.
they're little stinkers. That's why.
Well, why are they little stinkers?
They don't
Well,
like.
they
the way-
were.
They felt like he shunned the royals. They felt like he shunned their protocol.
He did his place in the secession line.
Why did they boo him? Let me tell you why they booed him. They were furious over him trashing his family in his interview with Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if any of you saw that in that interview, but I did, and it was terrible. He called somebody in his family a racist. They went on and on and on about how awful his family was. Now, whether they're awful or not is beside the point. You don't ever trash your family in public, period, end of discussion.
Amen.
So when you get mad at Keller Williams, you don't go trash them to the public. Now, you may say something to your team leader or your owner or your best friend, and you can talk among yourselves, among your family, but you don't go trash your family. And that's what this means. If Harry hadn't had that crazy, stupid interview with Oprah, he would not have been booed walking into that church. I've watched this royal family because I'm kind of intrigued by them for years. And I have never, ever seen anyone boo at a royal event ever. And that's what he gets for trashing his family. So representing the market center and the company in a positive way. There may be something that happened in your market center or happened in your region or happened at international that you're so ticked off about, you could just shout it to the world, but you don't. You talk about it inside your family, and you don't run to people outside of our company and represent your family in a negative way. You just don't do that. Now, Chaz, read number 8.
Number 8 is speaking without profanity.
Now, that one's probably going to go on my tombstone. I have a feeling somebody from Keller Williams is going to bring a drill and drill on my tombstone. Mo wouldn't let us cuss. Now, everybody else lets you cuss, but I won't. Don't you dare do it in front of me. Because if you do, to me, it's a sign of disrespect. It means you do not respect me, or you wouldn't do it in front of me. And, language has just gone to pot in our society. I'll never, ever forget when I was on a plane several years ago, and I heard a little boy who was probably 6 or 7 use the F word 3 times in a sentence, 3 or 4 times in a sentence, and his mother sat there and didn't do one thing about it. I'm telling you, if he'd been my kid, I would have gotten a switch and I would have spanked his little bottom, and I know I might have been put in jail for child abuse, but no kid of mine would have gotten by with that. And no kid of yours should get by with that.
That's right.
All right, now, number 9.
Avoid disparaging remarks about anyone, especially associates who leave KW to join a competitor company. After all, many times they may come back.
That's exactly right. So that one really relates to number 7. You know, you don't talk bad about the company to other people outside the company, and you don't ever say disparaging remarks about anyone who leaves, because almost always the team leader leaves the door open for them to come back. And if we have people in our market centers who badmouth them and say bad stuff, they'll never come back. And some of them, we really want them to come back. And we welcome them sort of like the prodigal son returning home. You know, we cook the fatted calf and have a banquet. We're so excited to have them back, because it says so much when they do return to us. Number 10 is really interesting, considering the other person's viewpoint before responding. Now, what's on the Y4C2Ts that basically says the same thing?
Integrity.
Nope.
Nope.
Communication, seek first to understand.
Seek first to understand. And that's what this is saying. Consider the other person's point of view before responding.
Love it.
I just love, especially in politics, I just love to get the other person's point of view. And then when it's different than mine, I love saying, you know, I really respect what you think. Have you ever considered thinking about it this way? And then I try to influence them. It's just so much fun. And we never get in a fight. We never get in an argument. We keep loving each other because I keep saying, I respect your point of view. And when you say that and you really mean it, then you can give your point of view and it may be different and nobody gets mad. Okay, being considerate of the market center staff. Have you ever seen an agent who was so frustrated because everything had gone wrong? You know, the deal didn't close and, you know, a flood came, and one of those days when everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And they come into the market center frustrated because they just don't know how to deal with everything going wrong. And maybe they growl at the market center administrator and or say something they shouldn't. We have to learn to control our speech. And when we're so frustrated on the inside, we still have to be considerate of the market center staff, because guess what? Things can go wrong for them too. Honoring the policies and protocol of the region regarding recruiting. I'm a year-old OP in a market center that was really struggling, that I have ownership in. And I want to tell you how I told the new staff and the new team leader and the new assistant team leader about the recruiting policy in the region. Here's what I said. I said, read this policy and what does it say? And they read it out loud. And of course it said, we don't recruit from each other. And then I said, what it really says is we don't eat our own.
Wow.
And I want you to know that if I ever hear or find out that you have recruited an agent from another Keller Williams Market Center, it is one strike and you're out. I will dehire you. I feel so strongly on that issue. It is so counterculture. No, we recruit to build our market center, not from other Keller Williams offices. We recruit from outside Keller Williams. And if somebody moves and buys a home in another area and they want to go to the nearest office, you do not even talk to that agent until the market center team leader calls you and says, Sally Sue is moving. You have my blessing for her to move to your office. Do you all hear what I'm saying?
100%, Mo.
Is this policy followed in your region?
It is in our market center. Yes, it is.
What should you do if you know it's not being followed in somebody else's market center?
I would probably talk to regional leadership first and then have, do it filter through them so that there's a, even keel going into the process, and then start a dialogue that way through that.
Right. You need to talk to the regional people. Now, here's an issue. I ran into this in a different region. It certainly wasn't your region. When I was CEO, they did go to the regional people, and the regional people did nothing. And yet they had that policy in their region. So let me tell you what I did. I hopped on an airplane and I marched myself to that region. And I had the regional director. I said, you have every single team leader at this meeting, and don't you dare have anyone absent. If I'm going to fly down there, you be there. And I just read the Riot Act, because if you have a policy and you don't have the gumption to back up that policy, what use is there having a policy? So I don't know what the other protocols are in the region, but whatever they are, you need to make it clear to your people in your market centers that we honor these policies and this protocol, whatever it is. The biggest one that I'm aware of is you don't recruit each other's people. Now, is there another protocol in your region that's important to honor?
Yes.
Yes, Mo, we have one where we, if somebody does move to another market center, that they pay the company dollar for 1 full year back to that market center they left.
Right. And that's in the document.
Mm-hmm.
And I still say, the team leader doesn't even talk to him until the team leader of the old office calls and says you may talk to him.
Sometimes it's difficult in the sense that the agent comes right to the team leader. So we always send them back to the team leader. And if that team leader doesn't call us, we call that team leader and say, this is what's going on. Let's talk about it. And we do with this cross region because we are surrounded by another region. And sometimes it's not as smooth as we'd like it to be, unfortunately.
Well, it sounds like you're certainly trying to do the right thing because it's pick up the phone and talk to them
Right.
and remind them of what the document says. And we've got to enforce this business of paying that commission to the previous office. So honoring the policies and protocol of the region regarding recruiting and other things is really important to our culture. In building a market center, never recruiting associates from another Keller Williams market center. That is an absolute no. In building a team, never recruiting associates from within your own market center without first discussing it and receiving your team leader's prior approval. Because I believe there are times when team leaders feel that a newer associate might be better off on a team. And if you feel that, then that's simple. You talk to whatever team and say, hey, I want to encourage you to invite this person to be on your team. I think they would grow faster and mature faster. So is that a problem in your region? Number 14.
I have a question on that, Mo, if you don't
Uh-huh.
mind. So, in reading that, does that translate to it's the team leader's accountability to know who's onboarding and dehiring from any team at any given time within their market center? Because it seems like if an agent is a match for a team, they may not have found the right team, so they're going to bounce between them. But we already know they're not a match for single agent, they're a match for team. So that seems to happen sometimes. And how can a team leader, keep track of all that? And then rainmakers are now talking to agents, and maybe even the rainmakers talking to each other. But who knows if the team leader is involved in that? And that definitely doesn't sound like it would match up with the,
Well, what I tell my team leaders is they need ever so often to have a quick stand-up meeting with the rainmakers of their teams. What do you need? How can I help you? I just have a reminder, Mr. Rainmaker or Ms. Rainmaker, that our productivity coaching program is for your new team members. Just remember I want them to go through productivity coaching so we can teach them right, or whatever the case may be. It's just a little quick stand-up meeting, and it's usually in those meetings when the rainmakers say, hey, if you have a new agent coming in that would be better on a team, let me know. I'm looking for, expanding my team. When there's no communication between the team leader and the rainmakers, and let's say one of the rainmakers can't come to this meeting because they really have something important they have to do, then the team leader just makes a quick phone call to them. How can I help you? What do you need? You have any openings on your team? So that's how they usually do it. Does that help answer that question?
Yeah, that provides some clarity on that. Thank you very much.
And then a lot of rainmakers just tootle into the team leader's office, stick their head in the door and say, I'm looking for a dynamic new team member. So if you recruit someone that would be better on a team, let me know. Okay, in building a team, never recruit associates from any other Keller Williams Market Center without first discussing it with and receiving prior approval from both team leaders, your own team leader and the neighboring market center. and engaging in communication between both rainmakers. It's all about communication with the team leader and with the rainmakers. Any questions or comments about that one? Okay, number 16, in building an expansion network, never recruiting associates from any KW office, both out, in your own office and outside, without talking about it with the team leaders and the associate in the primary location. Let me give you an example. We had an agent call us in this office. I'm now the OP. I never thought at 85 I would ever be an OP again, but I am. This agent in Denver said she wanted to expand her team in Oklahoma City. She was especially interested in a business center located in Yukon, which is connected to Oklahoma City on the west side. And she said, it's my niece and she's new and she's on my team and blah, blah, blah. Well, I thought all that stuff had to go through, what is it called? K-Win?
K-Win, Keller Williams Expansion Network.
Keller Williams Expansion Network. So I told the team leader to get a hold of our K-Win person, and she did. And the agent in Denver said that she didn't want her to go through our training program. She would coach her. She would coach her. And the team leader said, Mo, what do I do? And I say, honey, you say no way. So she told her no, that we absolutely wouldn't take any expansion people unless we trained them, because the brokerage is responsible. I know the K-Win broker is responsible, but so are we. I mean, you run into that issue of who's responsible. So we told her no. If you will allow us to treat her like any brand new agent, we will work with the K-Win broker and we will get her going. But the answer is no. So about a month later, that Denver agent called back and said, okay, because she had tried coaching her from afar. See, the problem with that is that Denver agent doesn't know what Oklahoma laws are. And every state is different. There are unique things about the Real Estate Commission rules and the state laws that are different. So see, in this case, we needed to talk to that primary location agent who owned the team, or who not owned the team, but had the team. We had to talk with the K-Win person, and we had to talk with the recruit. So you have to talk to everybody to work these things out. All right, now let's go to the actions, what we do. We make decisions that are right for the market center, regardless of individual impact, because there is no I in team, T-E-A-M. You all know what that means. It means your ALC members who makes policy for your local market center needs to make decisions that are right for everyone, not just them. And that is a great question to ask them in an interview. Give me an example when maybe a decision we've made around here wasn't as good for you as it was for everybody else. If you were on the ALC, how would you have handled that? Just kind of see if you can get them talking about it. Number 18, following the model is part of our culture. Now, right now, we're struggling to know for sure what our model is. When a few years ago, we were very, very clear on our model, because I would say right now, Keller Williams is in a great transition period. We're trying lots of new ideas and new things, and we're all kind of struggling to know for sure what the model is. But we certainly know what the model is in a market center, and we need to follow the model. And the model, I would just review the old model. You know, what is the role of the ALC? What is the role of all the committees on the ALC? Following the model means if you set a goal, it means you have an obligation to hit the goal, because the market center goal is based on the individual goals. And I tell ALC people all the time, the most important thing for you to do is to hit your goal. Yes, you make policy on occasion. And yes, you are constantly building to get to the next level. But if you're going to set a goal, then you have an obligation to follow the model and hit it. Because when you don't, you're hurting the entire market center, because the market center can't hit its goal if everybody on the ALC doesn't hit their goal. Number 19, not only learning, but living the Y4C2Ts. It's really difficult for agents in a market center to live the Y4C2Ts when you have a leadership team where somebody on it just violates it all the time. We talk about integrity, do the right thing, and we see that person not doing the right thing. So we can't expect people in our market center to live it when our leadership team isn't living it. And I'm sure your leadership teams in Florida do live it. But let me tell you what, if you see someone who isn't living it, it's time for a fierce conversation. 20, putting God in your, whatever your faith is, and your family first and the business second. We've preached that till we're blue in the face. Understanding that the higher purpose of business is to give, share, and care. I love Red Day. I love Red Day with an absolute passion, but I'm always, always saddened on Red Day when I see what percentage of the agents in the market center actually participated in Red Day. And I realize in these market centers where the percentage is 50% or less, that the leadership has not done a great job of getting everybody to understand that the higher purpose of business is to give, share, and care. Now, I know not everybody can, because they've got closings and they have, maybe a buyer that is in town, they must service. So we would always allow for a few who don't participate. But a lot of people in your market center could participate for a couple of hours and then go service their client or do whatever. And I just pray that before I am underground, that we get the percentage of people who are participating in Red Day up. You look at your, well, we used to call them the green sheets. I don't know what the heck we call it now. What do we call it, Howard? Is it still
It's on command? It's the commission distribution element on command. So
the commission? And you can tell how many really understand about giving, sharing, and caring when you look at the percentage of agents that give on command, because there's KW Kids Can and there's KW Cares. And you know what? Everybody could give $1 each for each KW Kids Can and KW Cares. I mean, really, can you give that low of an amount on the new command stuff, Howard?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. You can make it whatever you want it to
whatever
be.
you want.
Yes.
So if you want to get a thermometer to tell you what the temperature is in giving, sharing, and caring, look at your percentage at Red Day and then look at your percentage on command. And that will give you the answer of how effective you are in really teaching people the higher purpose. Now, I understand donor fatigue. Don't misunderstand me. I get hit up probably 5 times a week from charities and ministries wanting money. And there are times when I think nobody in the world cares a rip about me except for my money. I mean, honestly, that's how much I get hit up. And so you have to say no to some people. And I know the other day we had that wonderful story about that little Turkish girl, that baby girl. Anybody remember that one? It was on the growth call. And how she was going to die if she didn't get this certain kind of treatment. And they tried to raise money on the growth call to help them meet the goal. I think they ended up meeting the goal because those agents in Turkey worked their little hearts out for that little baby girl. At the same time, Mark King was trying to raise money for the Ukraine refugees. Remember when Mark King was trying to raise money for the Ukraine war? And then, I thought, oh dear, our agents are going to get donor fatigue, because you've got your local causes. But just keep in mind, there's Red Day, there's KW Kids Can, and there's KW Cares. And I hope that we don't get any more 501c3s. Now, Red Day is not a 501c3. I mean, it's just an action day where we take action, because I don't want our agents to get donor fatigue. And when we throw too many efforts in front of them, they go, I just can't keep up with all this. I can't keep up with all the requests I get. We already support 43 charities. 43. I give away quite a bit more than $1 million a year. And, I just lose my breath, huffing and puffing, trying to keep up with everything. All right, 22, taking a stand on an issue that may not be popular, but it is right. Well, I do that a lot. I get in trouble a lot. But I'm not going to stop doing it. I fussed at the leadership team not long ago, wrote them about 5 emails and got on the phone and talked to them about something that I felt was not right. And, they all disagreed with me, but I'm not going to quit doing that. So your ALC has to take stands on issues that may not be popular, but they're the right thing to do. We were created with a conscience, and we kind of know deep down right from wrong, sort of. It's really acting on it that's the hard part. Helping someone in the market center willingly and with a smile, even though you are, I can't read the rest of it.
Busy.
Even though you are busy. Committing to sharing knowledge in the market center through mentorship or teaching. Participating in Red Day annually and participating in community service locally throughout the year. Committing to donate to KW Cares. And I'm going to have that changed and put KW Cares and KW Can, or Kids Can. Paying a struggling associate's fees anonymously. Do you know what? When someone's just had so much bad stuff happen to them, an agent, they've had buyers not move, or they've had people back out of deals. You've all been there, you've done that. And they're kind of struggling financially. And then someone goes in and says to the MCA, I know Sally Sue is really struggling. There's been sickness, there's been deals that canceled, and I want to pay her office bill, but don't you dare tell her who paid it. Do you know what that does for a person? It's like they just won the lottery when the bill may be pretty small. Handling a fellow associate's business when personal or family illness occurs. Paying a struggling associate's tuition to a class that may impact the associate's productivity. I love number 30. Staying home if you're having a bad day attitudinally. 31, when lead generating expired listings, never be critical of any previous agent. 32, your social media posts should avoid controversial topics that are inappropriate for business. For heaven's sake, stay out of politics. You're a real estate professional. Keep your posts geared for that. And then any positive thing that you want to post about anyone or your family. Positive to the public. Responding to clients' calls and concerns in a timely manner. Committing a tiny random act of kindness every day. Picking something up off of the floor that an agent drops because their hands are full. 35 is huge. Being willing to walk away from a transaction that compromises your principles or our values. Paying your market center bill on time. I don't want agent receivables. You are not a bank. If they need to borrow money, teach them to go to the bank. Not looking for loopholes in cap and royalty payments. Building your level 1 profit share tree to 15 as soon as possible. That's part of being in culture. It's the greatest gift Keller Williams has. Being excited to build your downline by asking others, will you promise me that you'll take my team leader's call? Number 40, implementing the Keller Williams productivity systems, such as the growth initiative and what's the rest of it? I can't read it.
Cap management.
And cap management. Embracing new technology and labs built by associates and for associates. Now that Chris Cox has fixed command, I'm finding the agents in the market centers I own are crazy about command. It's just amazing to see how they've shifted. They hated it at first, and now they love it. Creating the budget you know that you need for your business. Consistently lead generating for 3 hours a day. And if you can't get them to do 3 hours a day, negotiate 2 hours a day. Using a P&L statement to analyze your real estate business. If you're in business, you need to be a business person and have a P&L. Hit your monthly and annual production goals. Profitability in your personal real estate business. That's why you need a P&L. You don't know if you're profitable without one. Listening before you act. Earning before you spend. Waiting before you criticize, trying before you quit, give 7 hugs a day, and be nice. That's it. Now, I want you to tell me if each of you were the team leader in a market center, how would you use this cultural pillar?
I would say, Mo, first of all, during a coaching session. So when you're sitting with the agents in the office, whether it's the top 20 or whether it's the ALC, keeping it visible so that it's not just a document on the desk, it's a living document. And probably more than likely, out of those 52 culture and action pieces, there will be one that we'll point to and bring them to a recognition.
Very good. Somebody else.
I guess I think of 52 of them. There's one for each week we could focus on and notice when everybody is following along, kind of like a kindness here or random act of kindness, that they're following it and acknowledging it. That way we're reinforcing it.
That's a great idea. You could post one up and say, this is it for the week. And that's a great idea. I love that. Somebody else.
I think, Mo, when there's some type of internal conflict within the market center, it could be between agents, it could be between ALC and agents and whatnot. I've used many times, you taught us years ago about using the Y4C2Ts in that context. It could be taking it all the way to these 52 items, bringing those in and going, where on here does this apply to what we're talking about? And how can we use this to move forward from any kind of conflict that's happening? With the market being like it's been for the last year or two, it's been a little more fast moving, a little more intense, a little more sensitive. And I've used these many times to bring people, cool things down and bring it back to a element of grounding. And that's helped with that.
Awesome. Who else? Have I heard from agents yet?
Hi, Mo.
Yes.
I'm Sharon. I'm the DoFi in Fort Lauderdale office.
Honey, no, you're not a DoFi. You are
The director of first impressions.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I like that way better.
Let me tell you why I said that, honey. I was at Mega Camp before COVID, and there was a prospect there, and somebody talked about their dough fee. They called it dough fee, and she thought they said dopey.
Oh,
And they said, why would anybody call their receptionist dopey? And from that day forward, I refused to allow anybody in my offices to use DoFi or Dofi because that was misunderstood. And here it was, somebody we were trying to recruit. I don't know whether she ever came or not, but anyway, you are the director of First Impressions, sweetheart. Okay,
I
go.
actually love my job. Thank you so much for that. I'm also learning now a lot of things about the culture. I've only been here like 8 months, and I'm also learning agent services. So as I'm going through Ignite classes, I'm learning how important all of this is. And today, for the first time, I'm actually meeting with 4 of our new agents to help them to learn some of this. So having this class first before I go into that class is very exciting for me, because the culture of Keller Williams is really exciting to me. I love the culture. I love being part of this team, this office, this culture. So thank you so much for sharing all these things for you. Red Day was absolutely amazing, and I definitely will encourage our office to do that. And one other thing quick is there's some of us from the office that go and clean up the waterways in Fort Lauderdale. And I just started doing that as well. And it's amazing what a difference we can make. Just a few people, many hands make quick work. So
I just love that, honey. Here's a kiss. Mm,
I will treasure that
awesome.
forever.
I
Thank you.
love it. Well, to summarize, this pillar of our culture is one that you never, all 4 of them are pillars you never stop using. It would take you a good year to get through this one, and then next year you start all over. We don't expect people to memorize this pillar, but we do expect leadership to mention 1 or 2 of these in every team meeting, in every training session. You can mention something from the Y4C2Ts or the MVVBP, or the personal perspectives, or the what is culture piece. You have enough stuff to cover from now till the day you go underground, unless you're tossed out over the ocean or something. Do you get my point?
Yes.
And on culture pillars, they never change unless we tweak them for the better, like we did when we added the E and the Y4C2Ts. So figure out how you're going to use these. And I just loved her idea of putting one where everybody can see it. And then in the video you send out to your people every Friday, or the newsletter you send out, whatever it is you do, you can say, hey, the culture and action piece for this week is being the best co-op agent, always respecting other associates. And then you hope and pray that somebody tells you a story about an agent who was really wonderful to another co-op agent, so you can share with the whole group at a meeting to demonstrate the sign you put up for that week. I love it. I've loved being with you, and I'm sad this is our last time to be together. But because it's Nikki, I'll do anything for you all.
Yes.
I can't do anything for everybody, but Nikki gets whatever she wants from me. So just know that because of Nikki and Howard, you have some clout with Mo. Okay. So maybe we'll get to do this again. I love you all. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mo.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mo.
We love you.
I
Sure
love
will.
you all.